I bid you welcome.
I welcome you to my house.
Welcome to my house.
Welcome to my home.
Hello horror hounds, welcome to my horror house. Last night for the first time I watched Tales of Halloween and I was so looking forward to it. Really wanted to level up into the Halloween spirit halfway through October now. A horror anthology that I'd never seen before, with the involvement I knew of tons of names from horror cinema. I tweeted out in the afternoon that I was going to be watching it for the first time, and someone replied and said that the cover, the poster, was the best thing about it. And, oh, harsh, but having seen it, harsh but fair. The best thing I can say about Tales of Halloween is it's given me a greater appreciation of Trick or Treat, which I like but don't think is perfect. So many tales in this, and that is the problem. Loads of segments, so all of them are far too short, and all bar one really, which I'll mention later on. With such a short run time, can't do anything but tell a story that's a little bit cute and has a little bit of a punchline. I mean, the anthology started with a little short called Sweet Tooth, and I watched it and thought, yeah, all right, that's cute, but we're just settling in. And then the next one was, it was cute again. It owed quite a lot to a little indie movie from a few years previous called Satan's Little Helper, which... really quirky film, much better than this film, much better than that segment. And I was thinking, oh, all right, cute again, but we're going to get a mixture, yeah, different tones. We'll have a couple of cute ones, we'll have some funny ones, we'll have some scary ones, you know, we can have some gory effects ones. Unfortunately, the mixture is not there, all bar a segment called Ding Dong by Lucky McGee. Everything else is pretty much played for laughs. Chill out, dude. It's supposed to be a horror comedy, you might tell me. Yeah, all right, fine. I could have done with it being funny then, if that's the case, and it wasn't. Lucky McGee's segment took a single idea with that short run and used horror as a metaphor to explore it. Long-term viewers will know that I love it when horror is used as a metaphor, but Lucky McGee took the Hansel and Gretel fairy tale, children coming to knock on the door at Halloween for trick or treat, and explore an abusive relationship where one person in the relationship has real anger management issues and just sort of infantilizes and victimizes the other partner. And let's explore that at Halloween time through dressing up and Hansel and Gretel and eating kids and witches, and I loved it. So someone went to the trouble of saying, I've got X number of minutes and what can we do that's really interesting. Yeah, all the segments are relatively cheap, so none of the special effects are great. So some of the visual special effects, even in this Lucky McGee segment, are a little on the nose and cheap and cheerful, but the intent was so good behind that one tiny segment that I will forgive it its budgetary restraints. But other people decided to go for just utter nonsense. What's the segment about the neighbours, one across the road from the other, that get into a fight because they have different Halloween decorations and different ideas of celebrating Halloween? Yeah, I get what it's supposed to be about, but it's utter nonsense. This is a film which has got so many references, nods, cameos, that you can't help but feel it is for people like me and you all who really love and know their horror cinema and know it inside and out. It starts, for crying out loud, with Adrienne Barbeau as the late night DJ host broadcasting to this town over Halloween night, instantly recalling her similar role in John Carpenter's The Fog. And I'm thinking, right, well, The Fog, and it starts off with that salty old sea dog around the campfire with the kids telling the ghost stories. So with that in mind, and with this image in mind, I was settling in for a film that Tales of Halloween absolutely is. not. And I don't think I set my expectations wrong. This is a film that sort of delights in you going, oh look, there's Joe Dante, oh look, there's John Landis, there's Stuart Gordon, there's Mick Garris, there's Adam Green. It's for people who know enough about horror movies that they can go, oh look, it's Mick frickin' Garris, for crying out loud. And you get all of these people together, and what I want them to do is give me some decent Halloween horror shorts. Not this fucking yuck knucklehead chuckle fest. This sort of like keg party of a Halloween anthology movie. Now, my favourite Halloween movie is Monster Club, which also happens to be an anthology movie. And yeah, that's goofy and campy and fun, but there are moments within Monster Club that are genuinely creepy, eerie and nasty. And none of that happens in this. It's not scary or creepy enough to satisfy horror fans as far as I'm concerned. It's not funny enough to work as a comedy to get your friends round with beers and have fun with. It needs to be a hell of a lot funnier than that for it to work. It was during the Friday the 31st segment that the penny sort of dropped for me, I think, which starts off as a riff on slasher movies, and especially Friday the 13th and Jason Voorhees, then takes a massive left turn into weird claymation Alien, and then ends up being a sort of homage to Evil Dead. And I realised while that segment was sort of escalating cartoon madness, who this would probably work for, and that's the sort of stoner crowd. Love them. I could see you getting a couple of mates around, get ripped on a bong, and while you're tucking into your munchies, you can stick this on and yeah, mong out and enjoy the hell out of it. But that is a really low bar to set. And once again, I don't think my expectations were set too high. This is a movie within which 3 of the segments make a point of showing that Night of the Living Dead is playing on the television while this Halloween night is playing out. That is the most meta in-joke for us, the horror crowd, who will understand the copyright trials and tribulations of George Romero, John Russo et al., the makers of Night of the Living Dead, i.e. it wasn't copyrighted. Technically the movie is in the public domain, so anytime you see Night of the Living Dead playing on the telly in a horror movie, you know it's because the movie makers didn't have to find the cash to use Night of the Living Dead because it's public domain. More thought went into which clips from Night of the Living Dead to use in the segments than went into the film as a whole, I think. The clips of Night of the Living Dead were used really well and really intelligently, but you have this sort of knowing meta level of, yeah, we all know that you know who Joe Dante is, and we all know that you know why Night of the Living Dead keeps getting recycled on the telly in other movies. But we won't give you, that crowd, the movie that we think you'll like. Instead, that just seem to be having more fun making the movie than I think the intended audience would have watching it. It's not scary enough for people who want a horror movie. It's not funny enough for people who want a horror comedy. I know that you can have stoners who are also horror fans, and hey, you know, that crowd might absolutely love this movie, and that is brilliant. If this film can find an audience, that's fine. I would just say shoot maybe for the moon rather than for the fish in this particular barrel.